According to Wang Lin's understanding, the seventh-step star domain is already in a semi-sealed state, preventing outsiders from entering. This blockade extends across the entire edge of the seventh-step star domain, forming a circular formation, with disciples from various sects of the seventh-step star domain stationed at multiple locations to replace defenses. This is completely different from the sixth-step star domain. Wang Lin sped through the sixth-step star domain, traversing it with unstoppable force, passing through endless star mists and floating continents along the way. His speed was so fast that it caused a stir in the star mists, drawing the attention of the divine ability elders in the sixth-step star domain. However, upon seeing Wang Lin's speed, even the elders were shaken, immediately retreating, not daring to impede his progress. They let him pass through the vast emptiness of space outside each floating continent. In the cultivation world, strength represents everything, and the powerful are always respected. At this moment, Wang Lin's speed was a clear testament to his power. Especially at such speeds, the divine sense of others couldn't lock onto him, making it nearly impossible to gauge his cultivation level. As a result, many of them adopted the mindset of the less interference, the better, choosing not to get involved. If it had been someone other than Wang Lin, anyone daring to fly so arrogantly through the sixth-step star domain, not avoiding the continents where various sects resided, would have been stopped, possibly even risking their life. Traveling from the fifth-step star domain to the eighth step would take a long time, even at Wang Lin's speed. If he were to avoid the various sects along the way, it would delay him even further. So, Wang Lin arrogantly decided to go straight, not bothering to divert around any sects or continents in his path. Along the way, no cultivator dared to interfere, but some elders followed from a distance. Although they couldn't match Wang Lin's speed, they still trailed behind, obviously curious about the purpose of such a powerful cultivator entering the sixth-step star domain. After nearly 10 days of traveling through the sixth-step star domain, passing by numerous continents and sects, Wang Lin gradually approached the blockade line of the seventh-step star domain. The area outside the blockade line in the sixth-step star domain was sparsely populated, with very few cultivators. Wang Lin gazed ahead at the range of the seventh-step star domain, where a mysterious glow flickered, forming a massive formation to prevent any cultivator from entering. Without a passage jade slip, not only would one be unable to break through the blockade formation, but as soon as they attempted to breach it, the defending disciples of the seventh-step sects would immediately strike, killing them. Wang Lin remained calm. Naturally, he didn't have a passage jade slip, but his speed showed no sign of slowing down. In fact, he sped up, heading straight toward the blockade formation of the seventh-step star domain. Behind him, dozens of elders from various sects in the sixth-step star domain followed at a distance. Although they couldn't match his speed, they could feel the fluctuations ahead. The moment Wang Lin entered the border of the sixth and seventh-step star domains, their expressions changed. It was clear to them that he was a high-level elder trying to return to his own domain. They wondered why he wasn't using the higher-level sect's teleportation arrays, but didn't think much of it. However, just as they were about to leave, they all suddenly turned around, staring intently at the void ahead. In an instant, they all realized that Wang Lin, the one who had rushed through their sects, showed no sign of slowing down as he neared the blockade formation of the seventh-step star domain. In fact, his speed was increasing. These elders, all with sharp minds, immediately deduced that Wang Lin did not possess the passage jade slip and was attempting to break through the formation. This discovery instantly excited them. Such a lively event was not to be missed. These past few days have not been in vain. We're about to witness someone break through the formation. The seventh-step star domain's authority hadn't been challenged for a long time, let alone someone attempting to break the blockade formation. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged as his speed continued to increase. He was now getting closer and closer to the massive formation of the seventh-step star domain. From a distance, he looked like a shooting star, rushing toward the formation at an unimaginable speed. The disciples of various sects inside the seventh-step star domain saw this and rushed to the formation, but just as they were about to take action, Wang Lin suddenly collided with the blockade formation. A tremendous roar echoed through the stars as the massive formation shuddered violently. The sound of crackling rang out, and the glow of the formation flickered erratically. In an instant, a loud bang was heard, and countless cracks appeared on the formation, rapidly spreading like a spiderweb. Within moments, the entire formation collapsed, shattering into countless pieces, which were swept in all directions by the force of the impact. Wang Lin's figure never once stopped, from beginning to end. After breaking through the ceiling formation, he surged forward toward the distance, passing through the stunned 7th stage sect elders guarding the formation. His momentum stirred a force that caused their minds to tremble, making them instinctively retreat. They could only watch as Wang Lin left, but none dared to utter a single word. The old experts from the 6th stage star domain were equally dumbfounded. Although they had prepared themselves, the sight of the formation collapsing in front of them still shook their hearts. Watching the dim light flicker violently and the ceiling formation crumble, they all burst into hearty laughter. As seasoned cultivators, they had little affection for the 7th stage star domain, especially the presence of this ceiling formation, which was an eyesore. Seeing someone break it so easily naturally brought them a sense of relief. However, they were all cautious in their hearts, constantly speculating about the one who had shattered the formation. This person must have reached the heavenly decay tribulation stage, or else it would be impossible to break this ceiling formation so easily. This has nothing to do with us. Let's just watch how the various sects of the 7th stage star domain handle it. This will be interesting. This old monster's temperament is likely unpredictable. Instead of using the teleportation array, he chooses to break through the formation directly. Clearly, he looks down on the 7th stage star domain. Once inside the 7th stage star domain, Wang Lin's speed increased. He rushed through, knowing that passing this domain would lead him directly to the 8th stage, where the Wind Immortal realm was located. However, the 7th stage star domain had many powerful experts, far exceeding the 6th stage. As Wang Lin rushed through the outer space of a continent, just as he approached, four overwhelming shattered nirvana presences erupted with a fury. These 4 presences condensed into divine senses and blocked his path, trying to prevent him from leaving. Who dares intrude into our sect's territory? Do you really think you can leave so easily? A cold divine thought echoed, and the 4 divine senses immediately shot towards Wang Lin. Although Wang Lin's injuries had not fully healed, facing just 4 shattered nirvana cultivators trying to stop him was a futile endeavor. His expression remained calm, and as he moved forward, he raised his right hand and waved. Suddenly, a massive palm imprint materialized, so vast it seemed capable of covering an entire continent. As the palm imprint appeared, the power of the heavens and earth rapidly condensed, causing the surrounding mist in the starry sky to tremble and distort. A mighty celestial force descended at that moment. The palm imprint swept forward, crashing into the 4 divine senses with unstoppable speed. Spirit Subjugation Seal. Divine Sect Cultivator. The 4 divine senses immediately showed expressions of disbelief. Without hesitation, they began to retreat, but the palm imprint was too fast, roaring as it swept across, landing directly on the 4 divine senses. The sound of the collision was deafening, shaking the very heavens and earth. A massive shockwave spread out, pushing everything around it. Even the continent where the sect resided trembled and was displaced by hundreds of feet. The enormous palm imprint continued to surge forward, absorbing the power of the heavens and earth, growing larger with each passing moment. The aura emanating from it became increasingly overwhelming. Wang Lin, riding behind the palm imprint, sped forward. The imprint cleared a path before him, causing all the surrounding starry mist to part. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. After Wang Lin sped off, the 4 elders who had been meditating in the 4 corners of the sect's continent, hundreds of feet away, spurted blood, their eyes wide with shock. They flew into the sky, gazing at the place where Wang Lin had disappeared. They could still feel the massive booming sounds and the violent energy of the heavens and earth converging ahead. They were shocked by the spirit subjugation seal, and even more horrified by the cultivation level and divine abilities of the one who had used it. This person's strength is enough to sweep through our 7th stage star domain. Thankfully, we didn't provoke him too much, nor did we show any murderous intent. We only intended to question him. With a single strike, he could have injured us. And clearly, he hasn't even used his full strength. If he had, the four exchanged a glance, each of them gasping, a sense of fear rising within them. The spirit subjugation seal forged ahead, its thundering sound filling the air. Endless energy from the heavens and earth poured into it, making the palm imprint grow even larger. If this had happened 100 years ago, Wang Lin wouldn't have been able to control it, but now, he still had some strength left. As he sped forward behind the palm imprint, it carved a path through the mist and shadows ahead, revealing a wild continent. With a loud crash, the palm imprint struck the continent, causing it to shake violently and crack open. The imprint tore through the land with unstoppable force. The continent was split in two. With such power, who in the seven-realm star domain would dare stand in his way? Often, those sensing his approach from afar would flee before even seeing him. In some cases, terrified sects, upon realizing that their continent lay in his path, mobilized all their cultivators to forcefully shift their entire landmass thousands of zhang away, making way before he arrived. It took nearly 10 days, and with the soul subjugation seal blazing a trail, Wang Lin gradually approached the 8th grade star domain. 3 days earlier, when the soul subjugation seal reached the limit of Wang Lin's control, he had severed its absorption of world energy. From then on, he charged forward with thunderous momentum, star mist roiling and retreating before him, drawing ever closer to the 8th grade star domain. On this day, the 8th grade star domain finally came into distant view ahead of Wang Lin. Nearly 20 days of continuous travel had left him utterly exhausted. Yet his eyes remained unusually bright. Even as he sped forward, he circulated his cultivation and swallowed elixirs to gradually heal his injuries. Between the 7th and 8th grade star domains, there was no blockade line, but there was a dense fog belt. Vast in scope, it wrapped around the entire sea of clouds. Within, most of the fierce beasts were above the 10th tier, some even reaching the 12th. Their sheer number made this foggy expanse one of the most dangerous places in the entire Cloud Sea star domain. This place was known as the Chaotic Beast Mist Realm. The fact that it was called a realm spoke volumes about its vastness. Ordinary cultivators who entered alone rarely left behind even their bones. Only true divine ability elders could pass through, and even they had to tread with utmost caution. No one knew what methods the divine sect had used, but somehow, the fierce beasts within the mist never ventured out. They remained inside, absorbing world energy, as if an invisible boundary lay just outside the thick fog. Within this chaotic beast mist realm, paths had been carved open. These were the only relatively safe routes, and any disciple from the 8th grade sects who didn't use a teleportation array would have to take one of these to leave the 8th grade star domain. Legend held that these 4 routes had been created countless years ago by the divine sect and were maintained by special means, ensuring that no beast attacks occurred along the way. However, aside from disciples of the 8th grade sects or those possessing a guidance jade slip, no one else even knew of these paths. For others, entering the 8th grade star domain meant plunging blindly into the chaotic beast realm. If they survived, they might make it through. At that moment, along the third of those 4 paths, cultivators streaked forward like shooting stars. The one leading the group was an old man in black and white Dao robes, his silver hair stark against the fog. Though aged, his eyes gleamed like lightning, and wherever his gaze swept, the mist receded several zhang. The old man radiated an immense aura of the perfect shattered nirvana stage. As he walked, the laws of heaven and earth seemed to mold themselves to his form. Following him were 3 others, 2 men and a woman, all appearing quite young, likely at the pure nirvana stage. The woman also wore a Dao robe, though it couldn't hide her graceful, curvaceous figure. Her face was pure and innocent, yet her charm was undeniable. With every glance she cast, the 2 men beside her became visibly captivated. "Master, where exactly are you taking us?" the woman asked sweetly as they flew. The old man said nothing, flying onward. Only when they reached deeper into the misty realm along the path did he finally stop and turn to the 3. "You are all core disciples of the Wuji sect. Yet your cultivation has been raised by elixirs, leaving you shallow in comprehension of the heavenly Tao. to say nothing of understanding the laws of heaven and earth. The best way to gain such insight is through life and death combat. Today, I've brought you here for that purpose. This place teems with fierce beasts. Scatter, and through battle, gradually find your comprehension. As he spoke, he waved his sleeve, summoning a roaring gust of wind that swept the three disciples into the surrounding mist, ignoring any response from them. The old man then sat down cross-legged in silence, his divine sense spreading out, carefully monitoring them. Unless their lives were truly on the line, he would not intervene. Outside the chaotic beast mist realm, within the 7th grade star domain, the soul subjugation seal rumbled forth. Wang Lin followed closely behind, speeding through the starry void. Back in Bingmei, he had learned some details about this region, and through fragmented clues, had vaguely identified one of the hidden paths. But he wasn't confident. It was incomplete knowledge, and navigating by it risked getting lost in the mist. More importantly, the path he knew of lay far from his current location. Detouring to reach, it would waste too much time and was fraught with uncertainty. After some thought, Wang Lin abandoned that option. Instead, he chose the most direct approach, to forcibly break through the chaotic beast mist realm in a straight line, and enter the 8th grade star domain in the shortest possible time. Having made up his mind, Wang Lin didn't pause for even a moment. With the soul subjugation seal paving the way, he charged forward with a thunderous roar, gradually approaching the chaotic beast mist realm outside the 8th grade star domain. He moved like a meteor, streaking through the sky with a piercing howl, and in the next instant, he plunged into the chaotic mist. The soul subjugation seal rumbled ahead of him. As it neared the dense fog, the mist suddenly recoiled as if afraid to approach, allowing the seal to pass through unimpeded. However, this mist was peculiarly strange. Although it retreated, it didn't part like the star mist he had encountered along the way. Now, the seal appeared to be wrapped in and devoured by the endless fog. The deafening roar of the seal's advance immediately stirred the seemingly tranquil mist realm, as if a stone had been thrown into still water, sending waves rippling outward. Amid the churning mists, faint roars of fierce beasts began to echo. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. His speed didn't slow at all. He raced behind the seal, while spreading his divine sense in all directions. Sweeping outward, he quickly sensed a massive number of fierce beasts hidden within the dense fog. Just then, a sudden roar surged from ahead, stirring the mist into a wild frenzy. From within it emerged a centipede, a massive, crimson beast over 100 feet long, its body covered in bristling hairs, and its face hideously fearsome. It charged straight at Wang Lin. The centipede was grotesque, especially the two giant pincers flanking its mouth, which gleamed with a chilling, metallic luster. Even before it reached him, a nauseating wind swept forward with its writhing body. The moment it appeared, the other fierce beasts that Wang Lin had sensed instantly fell silent and dispersed, retreating as if this patch of mist was ruled by the crimson centipede. Its presence alone was enough to drive the rest into hiding. Wang Lin's gaze remained calm. With his cultivation, he saw at once that the beast had reached the 11th tier, equivalent to a mid-shattered nirvana stage cultivator. That a beast of such level would dare show itself after sensing the soul subjugation seal truly surprised him. In a flash, the centipede charged out of the mist with a thunderous roar. As it emerged, it lifted its head and let out a long, ear-splitting screech, rumbling like thunder and setting the surrounding mist into violent motion. Its hate-filled eyes locked onto the soul subjugation seal. With another deafening roar, its enormous body trembled, and a vast crimson glow burst from it, instantly transforming into a sea of flames. Wreathed in this fire, it lunged toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin had no time to waste on the beast. The soul subjugation seal howled forward, but the instant it neared the centipede, the fire engulfing the creature abruptly exploded into a raging inferno. Amid the crashing booms, flames surged toward the seal in an attempt to halt its advance. Yet the seal had absorbed vast amounts of world energy and now contained an unfathomable power. The moment the flames neared it, they were forcefully repelled. Many of them were outright extinguished as the seal roared past. Wang Lin followed behind the palm imprint, advancing with ease and at incredible speed. Without the slightest hesitation, he flashed past the centipede in an instant. It all happened in the blink of an eye, so fast it defied belief. But the centipede was not about to let it go. Roaring with rage, it gave chase, its entire body once again erupting in flames. Its hate-filled eyes fixed on Wang Lin, as though it wouldn't rest until it tore him to pieces. And then, more roars erupted from the mist ahead. 6 more crimson centipedes, each 100 feet long, charged in from all directions. In the distance, a thunderous howl resounded, eclipsing all others. The sheer pressure in the sound revealed its origin, an awe-inspiring 12th-tier fierce beast. From the depths of the dense mist, a colossal blue centipede, nearly 1,000 feet in length, surged forward at terrifying speed. The mist churned violently in its wake, further enhancing its momentum. At the exact moment of this terrifying screech, not far from the scene, on a third route through the mist, an old man in Taoist robes who had been meditating suddenly opened his eyes, staring into the distance with a look of astonishment. A 12th-tier flame centipede spirit. Though this beast dwells in the mist realm, it rarely appears. What happened today to drive it into such fury? This isn't good. My disciples are still within the mist. If they run into it, they're doomed. With a flash in his eyes, the elder's body flickered, and he plunged into the mist without hesitation. Wang Lin furrowed his brow upon hearing the roar of the 12th-tier beast. He quickly realized the centipede beasts harbored intense hatred toward the soul subjugation seal, and by extension, had turned their aggression on him. The closest one charged at me without concern for its life, clearly to hinder me. Then reinforcements came, trying to slow me down, giving that 12th-tier beast time to arrive. Interesting. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with a cold light. He didn't care about the deep-seated enmity between these centipedes and the divine sect, but if they provoked him, death was the only outcome. A flash of killing intent gleamed in his eyes as Wang Lin knew that if he didn't kill the centipede chasing behind him, its continuous roaring would inevitably reveal his location. Moreover, the roar was ear-piercing to him. You seek death, so don't blame me. With a sudden turn, Wang Lin raised his right hand and pointed toward the beast chasing after him. Wang Lin's vermilion bird underwent its third awakening, merging with fire and the rules of the world, becoming a new rule that governed the heavens and earth. This rule contained the power of fire. It could be said that any fire-related divine ability had no place before Wang Lin unless the opponent's flames transcended the control of the Tao and exceeded the limits of the rules. Otherwise, any fire in Wang Lin's presence could be extinguished with a mere thought. The moment Wang Lin spoke, the monstrous 100-zhang-long red centipede, surrounded by a sea of flames, trembled. Without pause, it began to curl backward at breakneck speed, heading straight for itself. At the same time, a series of explosive sounds came from within the centipede's body, and a more intense burst of firepower erupted from it in an instant. With a deafening boom, at the moment the centipede's eyes filled with fear, its body was suddenly consumed by flames from the inside out. The air was filled with the chilling, tragic screams of agony. In the blink of an eye, everything fell silent. A fireball of 100 zhang size shot into the sky, lighting up the surrounding mist. Slowly, it faded, leaving behind a completely incinerated centipede. Not even a trace of ash remained. All of this occurred in an instant, and for Wang Lin, it was nothing more than a simple finger point. He didn't even glance at the result, his finger landing and immediately turning as he moved forward, the soul subjugation seal guiding him onward. At the moment the fiery centipede perished, distant, sorrowful roars echoed, and several other 100-zhang-long centipedes rushed toward him at greater speed. Farther off, 1,000-zhang-long blue centipede's eyes burned with even more hatred. It let out a low growl, its speed increasing, as it exuded a strong, pungent scent. If my injuries recover, killing these 12th-stage beasts shouldn't be difficult. Even now, considering they are fire beasts, fighting them is not hard. Wang Lin furrowed his brow, his killing intent flaring as he moved forward. It didn't take long before his eyes glinted with murder. Seeking death. From the mist on Wang Lin's right side, a red glow immediately emerged, resembling a firestorm that surged through the mist, covering more than 1,000 zhang. The sea of fire seemed intent on burning away the mist. As soon as it appeared, It charged straight at Wang Lin. Inside the firestorm, another 100-zhang-long vicious centipede, carrying the flames of fury, rushed toward him, its speed astonishing as it neared in the blink of an eye. The moment the firestorm's high heat approached, it was already within less than 100 zhang of Wang Lin. With a cold grunt, Wang Lin raised his right hand and swept it forward. In an instant, the approaching firestorm paused, then surged backward, soaring toward the centipede like a raging ocean wave. Simultaneously, the flames surrounding the centipede began to intensify, rushing toward it. In a flash, a massive fire sigil roared into existence. The centipede didn't even have time to scream before being devoured by the flames. The color of the flames was no longer red, but now a piercing blue. As the fireball shot into the sky, two firestorms surged from the distance, each carrying a centipede, racing toward Wang Lin. His killing intent thickened. He had no desire to be entangled with these vicious beasts, but they clearly sought to fight to the death. With a flicker of cold light, Wang Lin decided to unleash a massacre. The star of the rule formed by his conceptual realm materialized at his brow, and blue flames spread around his body. With a single motion, he shot toward the mist on the left. Moments later, a deafening sound erupted from the mist, followed by an explosion of blue light as a firestorm roared, instantly extinguishing the shrill cries. The oppressive heat spread, reverberating through the mist. Immediately afterward, in the opposite direction, blue flames once again flared up. A massive fireball condensed and exploded with a mighty crash, scattering blue flames in every direction. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Wang Lin emerged from the mist, his expression cold. In a flash, he continued forward, following the soul subjugation seal as it guided his straight path. Along the way, no more beasts stood in his path, as it was clear that the recent battle had left them in deep fear. But the approaching 1,000-zhang-long blue centipede was even angrier. It was still too far away. Even if it unleashed all its speed, it would take quite some time to catch up. In a fit of rage, the blue centipede suddenly released a dense, pale blue flame that surrounded its body. The instant it shrank, a series of cracking sounds came from within its body. A moment later, a blue thread of light flickered across its 1,000-zhang-long body, spreading from head to tail, as if an invisible blade had split its body open, leaving a deep gash. At the moment the rift appeared, a flash of blue light emerged within it, revealing a centipede over 800 zhang long. It broke free from the rift, its speed suddenly increasing several folds as it surged forward, engulfed in blue flames. Before long, the 800 zhang centipede appeared to crack again, and from within it emerged a smaller centipede over 600 zhang long, its speed once again multiplying. In this bizarre manner, the centipede continuously shed its skin, its body shrinking, yet its speed surged wildly. In the chaotic beast mist realm, Wang Lin raced ahead under the guidance of the soul subjugation seal, gradually getting closer to the 8th stage star domain. Along the way, he encountered numerous fierce beasts trying to block his path. Through his slaughter and the power of the soul subjugation seal, he carved out a bloody path, whistling by at incredible speed. The longer he lingered in this mist, the more he sensed the area's unpredictability. If he remained here too long, it would likely attract even more fierce beasts, making any escape exceedingly difficult unless his cultivation was completely healed. After nearly 4 days, Wang Lin approached the edge of the chaotic beast mist realm. If he could step out of here, he would enter the 8th stage star domain. Just then, he suddenly turned around, raising his right hand to point at the void, summoning the soul subjugation seal. The seal whirled rapidly, coming around from the front and appearing before Wang Lin as he turned. Without a moment's hesitation, Wang Lin quickly formed a hand seal and pointed again at the soul subjugation seal. The massive handprint trembled violently as the absorption of the world's power, which Wang Lin had interrupted, shattered, and it frantically resumed sucking in power from heaven and earth. At that moment, a flash of blue light sparked in the mist ahead, an unimaginable heat spreading out in an instant, enveloping an area of thousands of zhang. A furious roar erupted from within the mist as it swirled violently, revealing a centipede over 300 zhang long, surrounded by a raging sea of blue flames. As the centipede appeared, An overwhelming aura of a 12th-stage fierce beast suddenly permeated the air. Wang Lin's eyes glinted coldly. Without hesitation, he swept his right hand, and the soul subjugation seal howled into motion, racing towards the centipede while absorbing the power of the world. At a breakneck speed, driven by a tremendous force, the surrounding mist began to swirl violently, crashing toward the approaching centipede. The centipede emitted a chilling roar, glaring at the gigantic handprint. Its body flickered as it charged toward the imprint under the blue flames, but suddenly twisted as it neared, the collision of blue flames and the handprint erupting in a thunderous roar, causing it to dart aside like lightning, heading straight for Wang Lin. The ferocious expression and sharp pincers seemed poised to devour Wang Lin, and this scene, alongside the massive handprint behind it, bore an unexpectedly beautiful aesthetic. Wang Lin's expression turned icy as the rule star gleamed in his forehead. As it spun rapidly, a sea of deep blue flames erupted from his body, strikingly contrasting the light blue flames of the centipede. The centipede hesitated momentarily, its eyes revealing seriousness, yet it did not retreat. Instead, it charged forward, its fiery aura becoming even more monstrous, its blue light dazzling. Wang Lin raised his right hand and pointed forward. In a confrontation against the fire wielder, he needed no flashy techniques. With just one move, he could determine the victor. Under his single finger, the deep blue flames around him surged and condensed, racing forward with a scream. As it surged ahead, a dazzling blue vermilion bird formed in the flames, shrieking as it dashed towards the centipede. The centipede immediately let out a low growl, its upper body rising abruptly like a snake lifting its head, intently staring at the vermilion bird. Its entire body's light blue flames began to gather fiercely, forming a vast power that enveloped it, ready to collide with the rapidly approaching blue vermilion bird. In that instant, a resounding blast shook the entire beast mist realm. The consciousness of several 12th-stage fierce beasts exploded forth, racing towards this location. At that moment, an overwhelming presence surged from the depths of the beast mist realm, so powerful that even Wang Lin felt a tremor, suppressing the auras of the many 12th-stage fierce beasts. The thunderous roar resonated as the two flames clashed, creating a deafening sound. The vermilion bird shrieked and swiftly retreated, carrying a hint of unwillingness as it plunged back into Wang Lin. Just as it entered him, Wang Lin's body shook and moved far away from the scene. The sea of flames in front of the centipede collapsed instantly, its body exploding under the backlash of the flames, half of it turning to blood while the remaining half, though still alive, wailed miserably as it retreated hurriedly back into the mist, disappearing from view. Within the mist, an elder from the Wuji sect, dressed in a Dao robe, narrowed his eyes in shock. Who is this person? He possesses flames surpassing even the flame centipede spirit, and his cultivation is incredibly formidable. If not for his injuries, I fear even I would lack the confidence to confront him. He is not from the divine sect. I have seen the soul subjugation seal before, and while what he employs bears resemblance, it is certainly not the same. The old man was accompanied by 3 disciples, all of whom were stunned, their faces filled with shock. They had originally thought their cultivation was sufficient, but the scene they had just witnessed had shaken them to their core. In particular, the bright-eyed female cultivator's gaze flashed, and she looked in the direction Wang Lin had left, her thoughts unclear. At this moment, within the chaotic beast mist realm, an overwhelming aura swept through, surpassing all other 9th-level auras, filled with a wild and furious energy. The old man suddenly raised his head as if realizing something. His expression changed immediately. He waved his large sleeve, pulling the 3 disciples with him, and rushed toward the 3rd route. They can no longer be tested here. It was this very aura that made him abandon the pursuit of the centipede. After all, the most important thing now was to head to the Wind Immortal realm. The reputation of this beast mist realm is well-deserved, Wang Lin muttered, taking a step forward, his body flickering as he made his way toward the distance. After entering the 8th-level star domain, Wang Lin no longer charged ahead recklessly as before. He knew that this 8th-level star domain was filled with numerous powerful experts. For example, The old man who had observed him battling the centipede in the mist was clearly one of them. With Wang Lin's cultivation, even though he hadn't fully recovered, he could still dominate in a 6th or 7th level star domain, thanks to his various divine abilities and treasures. But in this 8th level domain, he needed to be cautious. Thus, Wang Lin restrained his movements, slowing his speed slightly as he carefully studied the route to the Wind Immortal realm. He avoided charging through sects, choosing to bypass them and head directly toward the Wind realm. Compared to the vastness of the 8th level star domain, Wang Lin's figure seemed like a fish in the sea. With careful concealment, he followed the coordinates of the Wind Immortal realm, slowly making his way forward. Several days passed, and nearly a month had passed since Wang Lin departed from the 5th level star domain. The mist of the 8th level star domain was dense, but with Wang Lin's cautious progress, he had now approached the broken entrance to the Wind Immortal realm in the 8th level star domain, all without anyone noticing. The Wind Immortal realm of the Cloud Sea had been severely damaged years ago, but because it was occupied by the mosquito beasts, the remains inside had been remarkably well preserved. Few cultivators visited, but there were still some who came in groups, trying to capture the solitary mosquito beasts on the outskirts of the realm. Entering the Wind realm did not require a wind cauldron. The entrance was like a massive rift torn open in space. Anyone brave enough to dive through the dense swarms of mosquito beasts could enter. However, few could actually do this. Only those with large numbers or powerful experts could attempt such an entry. As a result, most cultivators only operated on the periphery of the Wind realm. Occasionally, fierce beasts with rare immortal chi would appear outside the rift. Over time, these beasts could even produce immortal chi-infused crystals. Although they were rare, they were better than nothing. At this moment, outside the rift of the Wind realm, more than 10 cultivators appeared to be waiting for someone, ready to enter the rift together. From a distance, Wang Lin slowly emerged from the mist, his white hair immediately catching the attention of the dozen or so cultivators, all of whom turned their gazes toward him. Meanwhile, in the 5th level star domain, within the Guiyuan sect on Moro continent, Lu Yanfei stood atop the mountain where she had first spoken with Wang Lin. The wind blew through her blue hair, giving her the appearance of a celestial maiden. Her flawless face showed a hint of melancholy. The Grand Sect ceremony and the Branch Sect tournament were fast approaching. All the participants from the Guiyuan sect had already prepared and were waiting for the main sect's teleportation array to open so they could be transported to the main sect. The teleportation arrays built at the various branch sects could only be activated by the main sect. Without the main sect's activation, they had no right to use them. Lu Yanfei had been standing there for an hour, her gaze fixed on the sky, hoping to see the figure from 100 years ago. Yet, she had waited for 10, 50, and 100 years, but that figure had never appeared. After a long while, the ground trembled lightly, and a blinding light radiated from the Guiyuan sect. At the same time, the immense energy of the heavens and earth surged toward the Guiyuan sect. Yet, none of this drew Lu Yanfei's attention. She bit her lower lip, staring at the sky with a sorrowful expression. Why? You promised. You said you would come. Master, the main sect has opened the teleportation array. Uncle asked me to bring you there. We're leaving. Behind Lu Yanfei, Su Yan approached, walking lightly on the breeze. She paused for a moment, then softly spoke. A soft sigh escaped Lu Yanfei's lips. She withdrew her gaze from the sky, her melancholy expression fading, replaced by a determined look. She turned to Su Yan and said gently, After this journey, we will no longer be master and disciple. You have great talent. I'm sure you'll quickly become a core disciple in any branch sect. Master. Su Yan's eyes filled with tears as she was about to speak. No need to say more. My decision is final. LV Yanfei gave Su Yan a deep look before walking down the mountain peak. Outside the teleportation array of the Origin Reunion sect, LV Yanfei's 3 senior brothers stood in silence, their aura heavy with restraint. They gazed around with lingering glances, as if trying to take one last look. With LV Yanfei's arrival, everyone stepped into the array. As the teleportation was activated, their figures faded, heading toward the main sect of the 8th-tier, star domain, Wuji sect. Within the array, LV Yanfei's eyes welled up with tears as she whispered to herself. Perhaps when you return, you will find that the Origin Reunion sect no longer exists. At the same time, in the 9th-tier star domain, outside the demon sect, in the strange rift battlefield, waves of fierce beasts were slaughtered and kept at bay. It seemed that the beast tide had finally halted, allowing the cultivators of the cloud sea a brief respite. Among these cultivators, Xun'er, with her blue hair, became the focal point of everyone's attention. She wiped the beast's blood off her sword, her expression weary, yet still tranquil. She gazed into the distance, silently leaving the battlefield at the rift and heading toward the mountain gate of the demon sect's branch. I am leaving for 3 months. Xun'er spoke softly as she looked at the blurred figure sitting cross-legged in the depths of the hall. Her voice was faint, but it carried a sense of determination. The hall was silent. The blurred figure slowly raised its head, 2 beams of sharp light shooting from within, landing on Xun'er. Xun'er's expression remained calm, unchanged. Under such a piercing gaze, few could remain unfazed, and even the owner of the gaze couldn't help but show a hint of admiration. "No, I'm just informing you," Xun'er said, turning and walking toward the hall's exit. "A larger beast tide is imminent. If you leave now, it will be the disgrace of the Skybreaker sect." The blurred figure seemed to furrow its brow, and a wavering voice echoed. Xun'er did not respond. She walked out of the hall. "If you take another step, you will be considered a traitor." The voice still trembled, but there was an underlying coldness in the air. Xun'er paused, stood silently for a moment, and then softly said, "I am leaving for 3 months." She finished speaking, lifted her foot, and walked forward without hesitation. The hall fell into silence. "Why are you so determined? Could it be that something is more important than fighting the beast tide and protecting the cloud sea from devastation?" The voice held a trace of anger. "There is something more important to me than what you speak of," Xun'er continued, walking further away. Long after Xun'er had left, a sigh echoed within the hall. The wavering voice now carried no trace of coldness or anger. "Since you're so determined, take my jade pendant and use the teleportation array to leave. This way, you can save time." As the voice spoke, a soft light appeared and headed directly toward Xun'er, who had just exited the demon sect's mountain gate. Holding the jade slip, Xun'er looked into the distance and softly muttered, "The one who disappeared for 100 years. He should help the Origin Reunion sect in the upcoming branch sect grand competition. Will he come?" Within the Cloud Sea star domain, on a desolate continent floating in mist, the air was frigid, as if all living beings here would freeze stiff. In the eastern part of this desolate land, within a mountain cave, Bingmei sat cross-legged, occasionally opening her eyes to silently gaze outside. In this foreign land, she swallowed her loneliness and solitude alone. Her injuries were severe, and it would be impossible to recover her body in the short term. She waited, holding onto the jade slip she had thrown away when she first came to the Cloud Sea star domain. It was the ancient inheritance of Xun'er, a jade slip only allowed to be held by the saintess of each generation. While meditating, Bingmei often recalled her life, which had been dull and almost entirely spent in Xun'er. The most joyful moments were those when she experienced life through her clones, as if she were watching another version of her life unfold. Liulian was the most unique of her clones, special because of one person. In that moment, Bingmei found it hard to distinguish whether she was Liulian or Bingmei herself. She felt like an outsider, watching the scenes of Liulian's life, gradually losing herself, as though she had stepped from outside the situation into the center of it. As she thought, tears streamed from the corners of her soul's eyes. But these were not true tears, only her heart aching in pain. It was unclear how much time passed when a soft voice came from outside the cave, reaching Bingmei's mind. She immediately awoke, but her expression showed no surprise, as though she had been expecting it. "Is Saintess Bingmei of Xun'er here? Please come in," Bingmei said softly. A young woman in a pale yellow dress entered the cave. She was delicate in appearance, not as stunning as Bingmei, but standing beside her, she didn't seem ordinary. The woman looked at Bingmei and apologetically said, "After receiving the jade slip, my master intended to come personally, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, He sent me here to bring you back to the divine sect. I haven't introduced myself. I'm Wang Shanshan. Wang. A hint of loneliness flickered in Mu Bingmei's eyes as she nodded and softly replied, "Thank you, Shanshan." The woman named Wang Shanshan was gentle and tender. After taking out some medicinal pills, she smiled and said, "Sister Mu, you're truly beautiful. I've never seen a woman as beautiful as you in my life." Mu Bingmei's smile was somewhat bitter, and she didn't say anything. "Sister Mu, this time the Divine Sect's Grand Ceremony Tournament happens to coincide with the 8th-Tier Sect Grand Competition in our Cloud Sea Star Domain. Why don't we stop by and take a look along the way? I don't want to head back so soon after coming out," said the woman in front of her. Mu Bingmei looked at her and nodded.